I wanted to make a film about a young woman who we have all decided, we've picked apart her life with the documentary, with the media. Everything has been like, forensic almost at looking at her life. And I felt like my job in creating this movie was to say, here she is as a whole person, and here are, the things that happen to her, but we're going to see it through her perspective. So she's not the victim so much of a tragedy. She has her own agency, but let's, lift her up and celebrate her for what she did achieve.
From primary school to sell-out concerts. It's going to happen one of these days. Voice like yours, got to.
But it's one of the best I've ever heard.
That's my daughter. That's my Amy.
I met someone tonight.
Stay lucky, Amy.
Got an eye for the bad boys.
I had all the music. I had all the rights to everything. So it was good in that respect, because when I made Nowhere Boy, the film about John Lennon, I didn't have any of the music. And so I made the movie where I would film 3 songs. So in case I couldn't get permission for one, I had another, and if not that one, then hopefully this one. So it was different in that respect. And, Yoko Ono had to come in at the end and say yes or no, and thankfully she said yes. But with this, I had all the music from the beginning, everything from the studio. And so it was just from then forward that, I made the movie with her perspective and point of view through the music.
The album's #1 around the world. The highest charting album from a British female artist in the US ever.
Glastonbury, we shot that in a small room. And I really, honestly want everybody to know that because it was the biggest challenge to shoot Glastonbury in a room, in a studio, because it feels like you're in a field. It feels like you have this, huge, expansive audience. But, I had an incredible sound team who this is the first time Glastonbury has been allowed to be replicated in a movie. So, they had to really work at getting all the sound exactly right and visually to feel like it. And it was very complicated, but super proud of it. And then the smaller concerts, the smaller gigs in the pub, again, we changed the sound so it sounds like, a bad microphone with an early sort of sound system. So the sound of that is very different to then, the recording studio, to then glass, all these very different ways of playing the sound. We had an amazing cinematographer, her name's Polly Morgan, and she and I decided, there was a lot. We looked at a lot of, we actually looked at a lot of New Wave French cinema. We looked at a lot of Godard for this in terms of framing and how to sort of film certain scenes, but we also looked at how could we replicate this as close to film as possible. And so we went through a lot of processing to bring it as close, because we couldn't shoot on film, because sadly there's only one laboratory left in London, and everyone gets nervous when you go, I'm going to shoot this on film. They're like, no, you're not. So we had to really, work hard to get it to that. But then also to give the early days of her life, this warmth to it that then cools through different and becomes harsh or becomes very white, like you said at the end, and very kind of celestial, if you like. But yeah, the whole process of her life in terms of how we shot it was very tonally different through different emotions and places.
Well,
You did. And you're the only person.